It's that time again, folks, to sow your seeds for spring. And yes, it may be a little bit early, but it is the beginning of seed sowing. Now, you don't sow all your seeds at once. You sow a few today, let's say, and another few in about 4 weeks, and you continuously do that so you have multiple planting cycles so that you can harvest throughout the whole season rather than at the end of the season all at once. Now, sowing your seeds takes about 2 weeks to germinate, approximately, depending on the location. And what I use is a heat tray or a heat mat. This little heat mat here from Rice, beautiful little unit, speeds the process up about 2 or 3 times faster than normally if you don't have a heating tray, because the purpose is to get the soil warm enough so that the seed will germinate. So you're basically stimulating the seed to actually grow. Now, the heat mat here comes with a little thermostat. This is the one I used last year. That's why it's a little bit dirty. At the moment, it's sitting at 17 degrees, and if I put my hand on it, it is really nice and warm. Warm enough, you know, just to sort of warm up the blood cells. Now, you could set it up to 31 degrees, which it really won't get up to that temperature, but I set it up at its highest, and then I know the mat will sit around 18 to 22 degrees, which is the optimum temperature for seeds to germinate. And the whole process is quite simple. I use a little plastic storage container to create a mini hothouse. We've got the bigger one outside, but for my seed mat or heat mat that I use, I place it inside here and I put the lid on at the end of it. Now, I've also got a seed tray, and I spoke about sowing your seeds so they don't grow the roots together. They're called little plugs. You can buy them as empty punnets or empty trays, and they're individual little cells where you can plant each seed. I haven't got one in stock at the moment to show you, so I'm just going to use a normal seeding tray like this, or a seedling tray. And this is recycled seed raising mix. It doesn't need to have any specific type of nutrient. It's just a medium where the seed can germinate and grow its roots. And the trick to that is to liquid fertilize. Liquid Gold and EcoBoost is all they really need to help them germinate. Now, what I'm going to do here is sow. Let's see what we got here. These are my little collections. Which way do we open this up? Here we are. What have we got? We have got the Joe's Italian tomatoes. There's nothing in that one there. Italian seeds. Have a look at that. Both styles of Big M's, and it's not a drink. That's the Big Malacca, and the Big Malacca, both styles again. Let me find the Big Malacca. Oh, look at that. Oh, now some of you already received some of these seeds, and we don't have enough to pass on anymore. And those who did get them recognise these little packets. Now, these are the Big Malacca seeds. They grow up to about 1.5 kilos, and I'm going to sow. There's 10 in a packet here. Have a look at that. There you go. 10 little seeds in here, and I'm going to put 10 seeds in this little tray. That's all. I do want more than that, actually. I'll put 20. I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 rows of 5, and that keeps them separate enough, and 20 plants is plenty, and that's only the one variety. And we got what? We got little Malaccas. Hey, the little Malaccas are here too. Plenty of those. Anyway, all sorts of seeds. It's all about collecting your own seeds. Cost you nothing, a little bit of time and love. Now, the way I do these is carefully position them equally apart. There's one there. All right, so they're just sitting on the surface there now. Now I'm going to use some more recycled seed raising mix. Make sure I got all the roots out of that. What was growing in purple chicory we had in here last time. Okay, more roots. That's okay, that won't hurt. And just a light sprinkle on top. See what I'm doing? Just giving them a light covering, enough to cover the seed. You don't have to press it in, because sometimes we push it in too far and we get a bit excited. Push it all the way down to the bottom of the tray, then we wonder why it doesn't germinate. They don't need to be that deep. That's pretty much it. Look at that, beautiful, done. That's how you sow your seeds. Now, the larger seeds, you push them in a little bit further, or you open up a little divot and drop your seed into like a pea or a broad bean. But the broad beans, you put them straight in the ground if you're going to be doing those, or your pumpkin seeds, the same thing. You can actually plant them straight into the ground. But you can, if you want to bring them on quickly, put them in a seedling tray like this, and the heat mat, which is getting up to 20 degrees. Look at that. While we've been talking away, oh, it's just dropped down to 9. Oh, it's back to 20. Look at that. We're doing pretty well. And we're still picking tomatoes. It's out of control out there on the property, folks. One day I'll take you for a tour around the whole property and show you exactly how wild the tomatoes are. Now, back to this. Before I put it into the seed tray or the container that I've got here, 1 burst of EcoBoost and liquid gold is all you need. You need to just hydrate the actual seedling tray like this in the soil. Now, I'm putting it into a tray like this. If you want to avoid having to rehydrate it, because it will dry out, because the air pocket that we have in here is quite large, what you can do, and I haven't got a plastic bag to show you because we don't really use them around here, is put it into a plastic bag, one of those shopping bags, one of those that are translucent rather than a complete white one. And the idea of that is to create a tiny mini hothouse and condensation. So what happens is the water starts to condensate on the inside of the bag, and then it drips back down into the soil. And there's a bit of a cycle going on. So it rehydrates itself. Whereas in this case here, because the tray, have a look at this. When I pop it in here like that, so far down here, if I was to cut the tray down to this level, down here somewhere, and put the lid on that high, that would create condensation. But because there's a huge air pocket, I won't have, and there's too much air between the water where it condensates and drops back down. So use a plastic bag if you like to avoid having to water, but in my case, I'm just going to rehydrate it, and I like to give it a bit more than usual of EcoBoost and liquid gold. So let's take this back outside. Let's not shake it around too much because we'll dislodge the seeds, and we'll give it a nice water. 1, 2, 3, 40 mil, 1 litre. 1, 2, no, they're only seeds, they're not seedlings. And a little bit more of this. Beautiful. Correct measurements. Just got to let this soak in a little bit because it was hydrophobic when we started, so it needs to soak through. So if this is what experiences you have when you first start watering your pots that have dehydrated, you need to be patient. We've got about half an hour of daylight, I reckon. If you're not sure if it's actually soaking in, you'll remember the weight, the dead weight it had when there was no water on it, obviously. And now that we've hydrated, it should be at least double the weight. I don't think it's quite there yet. I reckon if I was to dig underneath this, it'll be a little bit dry underneath. So we'll just wait a little bit longer. All right, if I do any more than that, I'm going to dislodge the seeds and I'm never going to see them grow. It's okay, it is waterproof, the heat mat. Just make sure I haven't dislodged the seeds. They're all in the same place, I can't see them. Yep, that's okay. And that's pretty much it. So if you're going to sow your seeds, now's the time to start sowing your first batch of seeds. Get your tomatoes in. If you've got some big malakas, like we've got here, get them in. Don't forget to actually name it. Big and the date. Today is the 13th, I think it is, 13th, 14th of the 6th. So put the date there and the seed variety that you've got growing so you don't forget what you've got in these trays. And if you need some more seeds, go to our website, vasilisgarden.com, and remember, liquid gold and EcoBoost is going to give them the best opportunity to germinate and grow. So you don't need to feed them anymore. Like I said, only water them if you've got a big environment. If it's a small plastic bag, it'll condensate, rehydrate the soil. But at the end of the day, just monitor it, and if you see it's drying out, give it another top up. From me, Vasili, Maresi.